Welcome back to the ICT for Part 7 Pride. Like, follow, share, and help me effectively make change. We end where everything began. Before lust, greed, envy, wrath, or any of the 7 sins. Pride fell first. Not in man, but in the heavens. The devil's sin was not violence, it was not rebellion for chaos. It was self-exaltation. I will ascend, I will be like God, I will not bow. Pride didn't make him evil. Pride made him separate. And separation is the real damnation. A third of the angels didn't fall because they were weak. They fell because they agreed. They chose their ego over order, autonomy over obedience, self over truth. And heaven expelled them not out of cruelty, because pride cannot exist in unity. It fractures, always. That's the part people don't want to hear. Pride doesn't just reject God. It rejects authority, correction, submission, limits. Pride says, I don't answer to anyone. My truth is enough. I don't kneel. And that voice, it still whispers, but not in horns and fire. It whispers in certainty, moral superiority, in intellectual arrogance, in the refusal to be questioned. Pride didn't leave heaven. It just found a new house. Now let this sit with you. Pride is the only sin that convinces you don't have it. Everyone sees it in others, but never in themselves. Pride disguises itself as confidence, as conviction, as righteousness. But underneath all that, it's just fear. Fear of being wrong or being small. Fear of needing grace. Pride would rather burn everything down than admit dependence. That's why it destroys families, communities, and nations. That's why it splits churches, marriages, countries. That's why the United States feels torn in half. Not because of policy, not because of parties, because both sides refuse to kneel. Everyone wants to be right, no one wants to be humble. And pride always turns disagreement into warfare. And here's the part that shouldn't be uncomfortable. Pride is a sin that sends you to hell, while convincing you're justified. It's a sin that says, I don't need forgiveness, I don't need correction, I don't need mercy. And that is exactly why it was cast out of heaven. Because heaven requires order and pride requires control. They cannot coexist, so here's the cure harder than any other. Humility. Humility is not a weakness. It is in alignment with God. It is knowing your place and accepting it without resentment. Humility says, I am not the center. I am accountable. I will bow. And that word, bow, people recoil to that word because humility feels like death to your ego. And it is death to your ego. It is also the only way back. Humility doesn't make you less. It makes you clean and restores connection. It heals division. It makes peace possible. Pride screams, look at me. And humility says, teach me. And only one of those voices ever survives judgment. So ask yourself honestly, if pride could empty heaven, what makes you think it won't empty your life? This is where the story ends or begins, because the fall started with I will, and redemption starts with not my will.